Hey guys, IcyCat here, and this time we're going over some fixes and changes that come to the game starting February 21st with the new patch update 2.11, including some much needed fixes right out of the gate for one of the newest operators, Mira, and more. This is an overview of the patch notes for Title Update 2.1.1 that goes live tomorrow, February 21st on all platforms. There's a lot of fixes and changes coming, and as usual I'll give you guys a rundown on the majority of it, but some of the very small changes or fixes, especially low impact ones, I won't bother with, as it would make the video easily twice as long for details that probably aren't super important to a lot of people. You can find the complete list of patch note updates and fixes by going to the official forum or subreddit. The links for both of those are in the expanded comments below. First, let's begin with what Ubisoft has called the high impact fixes. With the beginning of Year 2 Season 1, a problem began occurring where the player would spawn with a point of view as though it were a distant camera, and would likely stay locked that way with nothing you could do about it. A separate problem causes the drone to be immobile during the prep phase and would carry over into the action phase. Fortunately, those have now been fixed. You can no longer melee the front of Mira's window panels to hit the canister from the outside. That was a huge problem that left Mira pretty broken, and they fixed it within just a couple of weeks, which is really great. They also made it so you can't melee through from the defender's side to take out Hibana's X-Kairos pellets if they're on the glass panel. Same with Thermite's charges or anything else that overlap the window too. No matter which side of the window you're on, no one should be able to melee through and hit something on the other side due to those clipping errors. And now I finally feel like we can all finally play as Mira properly. She has a couple of other changes too. There is a glitch in some spots where you could place her black mirror in a certain way to block a door, and they made it so you can't do that anymore. They also mentioned they fixed something with improper behavior on destruction of walls with metal beams. We'll know for sure when the patch goes live tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure what this is referring to is sometimes when you'd place her mirror on one of these problem walls, it wouldn't actually blow out the material fully, so you'd have a hole in the reinforced wall, but you couldn't see through the wall that was then underneath that. There's some walls in the game that are only partially breachable because they have indestructible metal rafters in between the wall sections, so you can make a line of sight, but not an area you can walk through, and those are the areas I think it's talking about. They've also resolved an issue where a teammate killing themselves and exploding thermite charges, Hibana charges, and claymores registered improperly as a team kill even though it was an accident. One that I've been getting a lot of questions about is the missing diamond weapon skin. I mean, if you spent 100,000 renown on something and it just disappeared or you couldn't apply it, you'd be understandably a little bit ticked off. It also went missing from the store too. Well, no worries, it's going to be back tomorrow in both the shop as well as your armory if you've already unlocked it. Also, people were noticing that the textures on operators' headgear pictures and character model preview were pretty low in resolution, and that should now be displaying correctly. Then we have some gameplay related fixes. If you were revived from a down but not out state recently, you may have noticed lingering heavy breathing effects as though you were still downed. Well, there's going to be no more pervy breathing in your ear following you wherever you go, as that issue has finally been sorted out. Now, if only they could figure out a way to kill that constant machine gun firing audio bug that randomly pops up once in a while that won't go away either. Here's a few more. Crashing when switching profile at the menu, briefly teleporting when joining a game in progress, incorrect team kill tracking when leaving a match and then rejoining have all been fixed. There was an annoying bug that would sometimes happen if you got hit by Echo's drone while you were in a camera yourself, making it so you couldn't switch back, and that's been fixed too. Not being able to crouch and melee at the same time has been resolved, as well as an issue that allowed people to still tag enemies on drones even while they were jammed. A few minor fixes for Terrorist Hunt where bomb indicators would display improperly. Also, location tags for terrorists no longer remain even after the terrorist has been killed. Bombers got a fix, as they would sometimes get stuck on their AI pathfinding when obstructed by barricades. The sound for the bomb diffuser being set up has been increased, although this is only listed under Terrorist Hunt, not normal PvP. Occasionally, a squad member used to not follow everyone else into a match on Terrorist Hunt, and that shouldn't happen anymore either. For Secure Area, the final defender not being able to contest an area if they were in a down but not out state has also been fixed. Then we come to some more operator-specific fixes and changes. And we already talked about Mira before, but Jackal was also having an issue where cameras that were active didn't seem like the red light was on while he was using his Inox visor display. Well, that should now look as intended to him, so he can tell when he's being watched. There was also a grouping inaccuracy for PlayStation users on his C7E rifle that's been brought back into line with where it should be. Fuse gets some much needed fixes. All shield operators, Fuse included, have that problem with their knee clipping through the shield when crouch walking. That's been taken care of. Sometimes when he would try to set off his breaching charge immediately after the cluster charge, it wouldn't work, and now it should, as well as another one that would leave you unable to control him after he detonated his second charge. There's also a fix for improper collision detection of his pucks when a player is right in front of the wall they shoot out from. And here's one that's been in the game for him since launch and they've finally taken care of. Thatcher EMP grenades will no longer destroy fuse cluster charges. I mean, on one hand, I get why they would. How could an EMP charge detect what's friendly electronics and what isn't? But as an in-game mechanic, it did do that for every friendly attacker's device except Fuse's cluster charge. I mean, I get why as a game mechanic you don't want that to affect your friendly teammates' gadgets, even if it's not very realistic. I'm glad they finally made it so that all the gadgets have the same response to the EMPs. It was just weird having nobody else's being affected and only his was. One problem Fuse has been having lately that remains unfixed for now is that sometimes when he places his cluster charge on a window, it sort of fails right away. Now, I've not had it happen to me personally, but I've seen it happen to others, and I've heard a lot of other people talking about it. Hopefully that one gets fixed in the next patch. For Hibana, she would lose control over her launcher if the reload animation was interrupted by a welcome mat going off and then being revived. This should now work again. They say they felt the sidearm recoil was too high and the accuracy was too low, though they don't specify which sidearm they're talking about. I can assume they mean the Bearing 9 machine pistol, but they aren't really clear on that. There was also something that got fixed that caused her pellets to get all sparkly on night maps. Echo gets the same recoil and accuracy change to his unspecified sidearm that she gets. There's also some minor fixes to some places where his drone attaches and a few other minor repairs. Montaigne gets the knee sticking through the shield fix too, and another one that caused his hand to clip through the shield when deploying the extension. Also one that caused the shield to sometimes just disappear when viewed from certain angle and position. Jaeger and Thermite get some minor fixes to their gadgets related to audio and persisting for a few seconds after being destroyed. I wish they'd do that for Bandit too. I can't tell you how many times I've shot one of his batteries with my Twitch drone and it takes a few seconds to disappear. I usually wind up wasting a second dart because I can't tell if I just wasn't close enough or if it simply took a couple of seconds to despawn the model after it was destroyed. Hopefully they fix that one next time. Tachanka and Blackbeard both had some problems with both of their shields not being destructible when friendly fire was set to off in a custom game match mode. That shouldn't happen anymore. Blitz gets that knee clipping through the shield fix, but sadly his giant head hitbox still makes him a bullet magnet even behind his shield, so people still seem to stay away from picking him a lot because of that. In the category of level design, a bunch of maps get some level of detail fixes. If you knew about it, you could exploit certain angles from far enough distance away where the draw distance wouldn't render an object because you were too far from it. So if an enemy was hiding behind something solid, you would still see them, even though if you got closer or zoomed in, you wouldn't because then the object would render and they were actually behind it. Well, that will no longer be an issue now, apparently. The rest are a bunch of smaller issues that have been fixed, but not worth mentioning in and of themselves. A lot of them relate specifically to items in the shop or previewing things and stuff like that. The only one I'll bother mentioning out of those is that if you picked up the GEO CTU specific weapon skin bundle, it wasn't unlocking the skin for Jackal's PDW-9, and now it will. As mentioned, patch update 2.1.1 goes live on all platforms tomorrow, Tuesday, February 21st. Now obviously Mira's changes were absolutely essential, but as for the rest of them, what do you think? Did these get rid of some of the annoying bugs or glitches for you? Was there something you wanted to see them fix that still hasn't been addressed? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, or shoot me a message at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest news and information for Rainbow Six Siege. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.